The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of Paranormal Buzz Radio or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is strictly prohibited. For information on everything Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer, visit our website, paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Russell. Welcome to the Healing Light Podcast. I am a psychic intuitive who's been reading tarot cards for over 25 years. I'm also Reiki certified. Join me as I read cards, share intuitive messages, promote healing, and much, much more.
Hi, everybody. It's Caitlin from the Healing Light Podcast, and I wanted to welcome you all to the latest episode. Before I get to that, my very special guests, Kim Burvis and Alison Robinson of REP Paranormal Podcast. I wanted to thank you all for listening, and you can also find me on social media, Facebook, and Instagram and TikTok, The Healing Light NH. If you have a show idea, a guest idea, any feedback for me, or maybe you'd like to be a guest, please, by all means, feel free to send me a message on either of those platforms, and I will be happy to have a little chat with you. So I am very excited because I've been wanting to do this since season 1. Kim Purvis and Alison Robinson have run a podcast called REP Paranormal. So I wanted to talk to them about being paranormal investigators and what that means. And then we'll get to their podcasts and we'll get to know a little bit about them. So welcome Kim and Alison to the Healing Light Podcast.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
Oh, happy to. I'm very excited. So, what I was curious about first, I wanted to talk about both of you and your connection to the paranormal. So, Kim or Allison, whoever wants to start, why don't you kind of introduce yourself and talk about your background in terms of your paranormal experience, as well as your podcast, and I want to know how you two came together as well.
Okay. Yeah, Kim's pointing at me. She wants me to go first. well, basically, I've known Kim literally my whole entire life.
Oh, wow.
Her and her mom used to actually babysit me, and then they babysat my children. So I now live next door to Kim.
Wow.
And for the paranormal part, for me, started, a lot of people have this experience when they're young, and I was pretty young. And I remember in my room seeing like a little, I had a tall, dark shadow figure that would stand by my bed. And I was scared, and most kids, when they're little, they're scared of the dark. And after a while, my mom said that she would remember me in there laughing, talking to somebody. Sometimes it sounded like I was talking in like tongue or like a different language. Like it was very weird to her. And I'd be in there and I'd be up. Like I was up just having a conversation with whatever it was. And then by about fifth grade or so, fifth, sixth grade, another one appeared that was smaller. And finally, I'm like, okay, what do you guys want from me? Because then they wake me up, in the middle of the night. And I'm like, okay, what do you want? Just leave me alone, let me be. And didn't think much of it. And then Kim and I played softball, slow pitch softball together. And there were some other gals on our team, and one night after a game, they were all talking about the Villisca Axe Murder House in Villisca, Iowa. Like, we should go and see what this is all about. We're like, okay, let's do this and see. So we went out, bought these really cheap recorders. I had an old camcorder that has the cassette tape that has night
Hmm.
vision, and that's what we took. And after that, I was like, okay, we need to go to some other places because after listening to some of our things and the experiences we had, we're like, why are we having these experiences? What could it be? It just, we were more and more intrigued by why we were getting these responses, especially voices that weren't ours answering our questions. So
Hmm.
that's how it was for me. Kim, do you want to?
Mine all started with dreams. My niece was killed in a car accident, and in my dreams, it's like I was sitting over them and I could hear the whole conversation
Wow.
and everything. So that got me intrigued in it. Then I started watching Ghost Hunters. Well, that got me more and more interested in it. And then, like Alison said, we were sitting around talking about it. Went to Velisca. I got scratched. Well, that got me more intrigued. Why are they picking on me and not them? So I wanted to go and keep continuing this until I figured out what was going on. And plus, with my dreams, I'm still having dreams. Like Melbourne comes, Susie in Melbourne keeps coming and visiting me in dreams when she's not happy there, and then she disappears when I wake up. It's like every dream lately has been about her. I don't know why.
Do you want to give her a background on
Wow.
Susie? On who Susie is?
Susie is in a. I think she was about 80 something when she died or something, but she had the mental of a child.
Oh, okay.
So she stays in this one room, and they've got coloring books and everything in her room. And I kind of connected with her from the beginning.
Hmm.
And we'll play music in there, like Glenn Miller and stuff like that. My K2 won't go off all night long till we go in that room and play that music for her, and it's like it's dancing with her.
Yeah. We kind of have a strong connection to Malvern.
Yeah.
I've actually brought something home from there.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
yeah. Yeah. But that's a whole nother that could be like a whole nother thing in itself. But
Yeah.
I don't know why we're so connected to that place, what the hold is, why they're so I
Mm.
think that they're drawn to us and we're drawn to them.
Yeah. Yeah, because
So
I think, and it just sounds very similar. I know for me,
uh-huh.
I've told you this before when I was a guest on that I started when I was little, and
Mm-hmm.
I actually had a family. I had two little boys, and then I have dreams, and I still have dreams
Mm-hmm.
where I'll dream something and it comes true.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've actually channeled a couple of people, so I'd like to
Mm-hmm.
explore that. So yeah, it
Uh-huh.
gets you. And when you have that gift
Mm-hmm.
and you tap
Mm-hmm.
it's my feeling in a good way that you kind of open a portal, you open that
Mm-hmm.
door
Mm-hmm.
to allow those spirits to come to you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because they all want to talk. They all have
Right.
something to say.
Mm-hmm.
So I would absolutely say that. So when it comes to, you have to forgive me because I'm kind of ignorant about this stuff.
That's
I
okay.
know I know what psychics are, I know what astrologers are,
Mm-hmm.
mediums, but when it comes to like paranormal investigations
Mm-hmm.
or the paranormal, what does that exactly mean?
It's just for us, I mean, there's a whole bunch of people that are in the paranormal. Some are skeptics, some are there to collect more data using science
Mm,
approaches to figure out what's going on. There's like a whole broad spectrum for the
You
paranormal.
got some are there just to have fun.
Fun, uh-huh.
mm-hmm,
Everybody takes it a different way.
right, right. And for us, you know, I mean, I do sometimes hear them, like they might say like a word to me, or I'll have
Hmm.
like flashes, images of like stuff they're trying to show me,
Okay.
which helps out in the investigation too. I just take it as a grain of salt. But, there are some mediums that come and they get more information. So there's like just a big broad spectrum, and there's so many people, different people in this trying to all come together to figure out why do spirits stay here? Why don't they move on?
Mm.
Why what on back? Is it, or if we're dealing with an intelligent spirit, or are we dealing with something that residual? Yeah, I
Mm.
can't even talk. Residual, so something that's happened in that location, and every time you go there, you might get the same thing. It could be like a repeat thing, where
Mm.
they don't give you like an intelligent response. Like if you ask, "Do you know what season it is?" and it tells you spring, and it's spring, you could be dealing with an actual spirit. So that's why
Hmm.
we're all in the paranormal. We're just trying to figure out, how does this work? Is there something beyond when we pass? Like, is there really something there that we could come back and connect with our loved ones?
Yeah. That's really cool. And
Hmm.
to be honest, I don't, as a psychic medium, I know a lot about the spirit world and
Hmm.
our spirit guides. But I have the question of why
Hmm.
do some come over and
Right.
communicate?
Uh-huh.
How does that happen?
Hmm.
Are they stuck, or are they just like you said, maybe coming back?
Uh-huh.
Um, is Are they finding another purpose? Are they designated? So
Hmm.
yeah, that's something. It just triggers me that I want to think about that
Hmm.
and talk to other people and
Right.
find out, get their what they believe in it,
Hmm.
because even myself,
Hmm.
I'd like to know as well.
Right.
You know, so so when you go on a paranormal, and you said that you were talking to a group of your friends and you found this
Hmm.
haunted place and you just
Hmm.
went there with some recorders.
Right.
But now moving forward,
Hmm.
how do you find these places? Are you invited in by people, or is it like a community where you to go to here, go to there? Is that how it works?
A lot of places we research, or we've met so many people and made so many connections in the paranormal field that
Hmm.
they will say, "Hey, we went to this location. Have you guys heard about it? Maybe you should check this out." So it's like kind of like a networking thing. Like
Okay.
we kind of figure out by word of mouth of different locations. Sometimes we're invited to come to these locations.
Hmm.
Um, it's just a whole slew of things, but like we're always looking. Sometimes you get the information from watching shows on TV,
Hmm.
um, and things of that nature, and then you can go on, and a lot of them have websites or whatever, and you can pay to
Hmm.
go stay overnight in these locations to see what you get.
Okay.
Yeah, some of them are definitely not cheap.
I would say so. Yeah. So in all the places you've been, where have your travels taken you? I mean, where have you been?
Oh, we've been to Malvern more than we can talk about or say. Oh, yeah, and that's in Malvern, Iowa, which is about a little over 3 hours from us.
Hmm.
We've been to Farrar, which is about 30 minutes from us, which is an old school.
Hmm.
They're trying to figure out, why is this place haunted? There's no reports of deaths or anything like that. Recently, we started. I mean, we've been to Edinburgh Manor, which was a poor farm turned into an asylum.
Hmm.
We've been to the Granger House in Marion, Iowa. Um, that's now on the historic registry. And we've been to Indiana. That's yeah, Missouri State Penitentiary. That one's different. Cambrian, Illinois.
Hmm.
That's actually one of our friends owns that location, and even if you're not into the paranormal, I just want to say this: it is a beautiful place to like rent out for any kind of venue.
Hmm.
She does weddings and all kinds of stuff,
Oh,
expos and stuff, and it's just a beautiful little red house,
yeah,
and it's by itself out there in nature, and it's
yeah.
amazing. I just had to put that out there. Yeah, so I
Well,
had to put that in
oh,
there,
go ahead.
but and
I
now
was gonna
we're
say,
yeah.
no, I interrupted you. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, no, you're okay. And we have some other locations. We've been to Kansas.
Oh,
We've been to McAteer Villa, which is a very cool place. Love to get back there. But we have some new spots that we're going to be heading to here in the next few months. So we're trying to broaden our horizons out of Iowa to hit some other states. So,
yeah. That place that you were talking about that has the little red house. Send that
yeah.
information when we're done here because my fiance and we love to travel and explore
Oh,
new places. So that
yeah.
sounds like that would be right up our alley.
There's like a whole little thing there, and um little isn't there like a town there with little shops, and they have little wineries, and there's like
Oh,
a breakfast is there, and yeah, it's just a nice little area, and that house is just out there in the middle of the
hmm.
woods, kind of wooded area. It's really nice.
All right, good, awesome. Um, are there any places
Hmm.
that you and Kim have on your top five or your number one or your bucket list, like your dream investigation? Where would that be?
Mm. Yes, we do want to head to Hinsdale House. That's kind of a jaunt for us.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's in New York, so a little bit of a jaunt. And Kim doesn't like to fly, so we'd have to drive. And I don't like driving in crazy traffic. And yeah, all of our equipment wouldn't fit on the plane
Oh yeah, I was going to ask you too. When you go out, like you have to have all this like recording. I'm sure it gets very sophisticated. And do
either.
my question is,
That's
I
okay.
seem, I think whenever I see shows about people doing paranormal investigations, it always seems that they go at night,
Oh
and
yeah,
I don't know if there's a reason for that or if it's
I
just
think it's
for
just.
emphasis.
I think it is because we get sometimes our best
Uh,
stuff while we're setting up. It's still daylight out. And all this stuff is going on, and we're like, we should be having our recorders going at least while we're setting up cameras and stuff because we're getting all this stuff, you know?
yeah,
And so, but there's times where it doesn't matter. They're not, spirits are there whenever and they'll communicate to you
yeah.
whenever. It's not like, oh, well, it's nighttime. We need to come out and talk to the living. It's, yes, see it.
Wow,
Uh huh.
I
Yes.
gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, yeah, I
Yep.
gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, so I was wondering if, because I've thought about doing this, and I have a psychic friend who's done this.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever taken psychics with you, psychic mediums? Because
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to try that once
Uh-huh.
with a paranormal investigator. I really would.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah. I mean, we have yeah,
Okay.
Kelly McCarville Moon Spinner. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting. All right, that's very cool. All right, I'll have to.
Mm-hmm. We've
Yeah.
had some others that we've done like FaceTimed and things like that, or whatever, and do like a walkthrough, and then they'll kind of tell us what they're feeling in these areas, or if they
Oh,
have like a
okay.
strong sense of something. They're like, there's something with this. Maybe you want to ask the owner if they've heard this or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
to validate. And and things of that. So yeah, we have done it. So yeah,
All right.
you should do it.
Yeah, well, I think if I did the virtual with the FaceTime at first,
Uh-huh.
that would give me a good introduction to it.
Mm-hmm.
But then I know for sure I'd want to actually physically go there.
Right.
So I'll have to look in my area in southern New Hampshire
Uh-huh.
or even Massachusetts
Mm-hmm.
to see. There's got to be groups or someone I can connect with. So
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's got to be a lot of them out that way.
all right.
Yeah.
And my final question is I wanted to know if there was one investigation for you both that really stood out more than like your most profound one or the scariest one or the whatever. What would be your most memorable one, would you say?
Hmm.
The scream around the world.
I knew you were gonna go there.
That's the one that hits me every time somebody asks me.
Everybody talks about it. You want to talk about it? You want to say it?
Well, there's this doll at Melbourne in what they call Inez's room.
Okay.
And 2 weeks before that, we were there, and it fell and hit me in the arm. So I figured maybe it wasn't sitting on the thing very well. So I restored it, set it back up. And 2 weeks later, we were there, and the spirit boxes and stuff was telling us for me to pick it up and take it to Allison.
Uh-huh. And I
Oh,
already had this bad vibe about this doll.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like it.
So they talked me finally into it, and I picked it up, took it over to Allison, and then I set it right back down where she was. We jumped up and down to make sure she wasn't going to fall. She was good. And we were experimenting with this ball, and Allison rolled it. It went under everything, went around the door and back to Allison. And we were sitting there trying to figure out how did it miss everything and then came back to Allison.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then the doll that is top heavy should have fell head first, came off of it feet first, and shattered.
Holy wow.
Allison screamed. That's the scream around the world.
Yeah, I screamed really loud. We were on Facebook Live, and we had a bunch of people, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, what just happened?"
Oh my God.
She should have fell straight down head first because that's how top heavy she was. But no,
Yeah.
she came off of it feet first at full force.
And
Wow.
her legs were shattered. She had no more legs. The next morning, Kim
Wow.
super glued her legs back together.
I glued the legs all back. I felt sorry for her.
Yeah, now she sits in a case in Josh's office.
Yeah, she's under glass right now.
She's been blessed and everything.
Yeah.
And the owner says she still moves in that case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we were there this last fall, and he's like, "Hey guys, got a surprise for you." Not even more than me. I didn't even turn the corner yet, and I'm like getting this like block, like, "Oh, this ain't good." There she was, out of the case, sitting on a table. He had tape marked right there to see if she would move. He's like, "I brought her out for you guys," and I'm like, "Oh no." And so we're all in the kitchen talking, and he let us use some of his equipment. So he has this REM pod, and that's a thing. It makes noises. So if something comes close to it, it's gonna make noise, light up, whatever. And it looked like a little cigarette box. Okay, so we set it next to her, and we're all in the kitchen talking, and then we're like, "Oh my gosh, it's going off!" So we were trying to catch it on video. And we're like, okay, we got to get our cameras set up. So we're trying, Kim's setting up cameras. I'm sitting here holding the camera by the doll. And this girl, Stephanie's right there, and she's talking to me. And I'm like saying to the doll, "Oh, this desk is way too far for you to come off at that at me now. You're not going to be able to do it." And all of a sudden she kind of half starts to move like this. And then she just goes, boom, down.
Wow.
And the thing is that REM pod was sitting right there. When she hit the REM pod, it should have went off. It didn't. And then after we set her back up, then the REM pod started going off.
Oh my God.
And then the cat balls, we use these little cat ball things, those were going off like crazy. Cheap, work very well for the paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
But
Wow.
yeah, definitely
Uh,
something with that doll.
yeah, absolutely. I would say so. Well, it's amazing. So I definitely have an education now about paranormal and what goes into it and how
Uh,
your experiences and how gifted you guys are. So I want to ask you, how did the idea for the podcast come about?
I was always listening to Shay on her other network that she was on. I was always
Mm-hmm.
going into different podcasts, and I'd comment in there. And Shay and I got to know each other, and she just asked if we'd like to join her podcast network. And I asked Allison. We asked the whole team, but none of them wanted to, so it came me and Allison.
and here we are, what, 5 years later?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been listening to your a lot of your episodes, and you really have a lot of great gifts.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, from I know from where I started my very first show,
Mm-hmm.
which was like an introduction. I was so incredibly nervous. It was only like
Well, me too.
15 minutes long.
Yeah.
To where I am now,
Yeah.
I feel that I've grown and I've
Oh, yeah.
learned, and you learn a lot. So when you think about where you started
Mm-hmm.
versus where you are now,
Mm-hmm.
um, what have you seen in terms of your growth and all that?
I think quite a bit. I mean, I've always been a very shy, quiet person, if you can believe that or not.
Hmm.
Um, and so when I was
Hmm.
asked to do this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we're gonna have to ask guests to be on our show, and then we're gonna have to ask them questions, and I'm gonna have to look at them on a camera, like, oh my gosh, you know. And then not knowing I'm not very tech savvy, um, learning how to do my own show and everything, and it was it was a lot. I think we've come quite a ways because before a lot of times we sounded like robots
Yeah.
and we just rolled with the show instead of like mixing it. We're like,
Yeah.
whatever, we're just gonna roll with it. And now, we try to take more time and make sure, like I said, the sound. We want to put out a good show and we want
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
make sure we give the guests the shows that they deserve because they're a lot of them are on here promoting their teams or their books or things like that, and
Mm.
we want to help them get their names out there to help them as well. So we want to make sure we have good quality sound, and I think we've come
A lot
up
better
better.
than what we were.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, we still have room for improvement? Absolutely, everybody does, and we continue to try to grow in that and broaden our horizons with our show and bring some
Hmm.
new um, topics and things, so we're not sounding so redundant since we've been on for so long. So, but we like to bring repeat guests on and things like that because they always have new things coming on, and
Mm.
but yeah,
Mm.
just
Yeah, very cool. So, I mean, when I was looking at your shows,
mhm,
I mean, you've interviewed psychics,
mhm,
authors, psychic authors,
mhm,
healers, and I was listening to those, and so with that variety of people, do you find that you prefer like one topic over the other, or you just want to get all the paranormal and spirituality people that that you can you learn about?
Oh yeah, I like to broaden our horizons. The
Mm,
more different topics, the better.
yeah,
We
yeah.
like to talk about cryptids and
Hmm.
UFOs and all that kind
Mm,
of stuff too. We don't have a whole lot of those on. We haven't for a while,
mm,
and those are always kind of interesting to hear people's thoughts and stories and their
mm,
encounters with those things.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, we like to broaden our horizons, and if I get something and I look into it, I'm like, okay, yeah, let's roll with it. It's something totally different off the wall, what we normally do, but you know, I just like to give everybody a chance. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like that a whole lot too. And just like I asked you with your paranormal investigations, if you had to have one guess, like that would be your get, who would you like to interview?
Oh, that's
I
a
can
tough
tell you
one.
mine. All
You go with yours while I'm brainstorming. I want to hear what yours is. Who yours
right,
is.
so he's a well-known psychic.
Mhm.
It's James Von Prague.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
sure
you
you must have.
mentioned him. Yeah, yeah, I know who he
Yeah,
is. Uh-huh.
I think if I could um, have him on the show,
Mhm.
my life would be complete. No, I'm sure there's lots of other psychics too, but I am fascinated by him. I know now. I didn't know that he teaches now, and
Oh, uh-huh.
yeah. So yeah, I'd love to. I love picking the brains of people, and
Mm-hmm.
I think he'd be really fascinating. So that's
Mm-hmm.
who I would want to have on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh, yeah.
I'll put it out to the universe, and
So, yeah.
if it happens,
That's,
it happens, and it's meant to be.
that's
So
right.
yeah. So if it and, oh, one thing before you tell me your get that you want,
Uh-huh.
um, I noticed too that you have I've had guests from the UK,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was wondering if I think it seems to me there's a very large spiritual community in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people from that. So I just didn't know if you were finding that as well, or.
Oh yeah. We've got a lot of people over there that we have met and had
Mm,
on our show, and um and we seem to have a lot of listeners from the UK. So shout out to you. Thank you, everybody. We love
across the
you.
pond, yeah,
That's right.
absolutely, yeah,
We
yeah.
love you.
So back to
Yeah.
putting you both on the
On the
spot.
spot.
So is there anybody like what your dream get or guess, or do you not have one, or?
Kim, you go first.
I have none.
You don't have any?
Mm-mm.
I don't know. That's a tough one.
Unless you want to consider our live investigations and one of the spirits came through and we interviewed them.
Oh, that would be
Ah,
interesting. Yeah.
Because we do
you need
have
someone who could
investigations.
channel, yeah.
Yeah.
Get
Uh,
someone who channels, yeah.
No, we don't let you channel
I'm
them.
a random channeler though. Like I get everything and anything,
Yeah,
and it's not good.
yeah.
Um, I don't know. I That's a good question. I haven't really thought of it. Um, I mean, there would be some fun ones like Dustin Perry would be cool.
Mm,
Kim used to watch him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on all ghost shows and things like that. But he does a lot of
okay.
Because they're
touring
all
now.
so busy, they're
I know.
hard to get on.
Uh-huh. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know who mine would
Yeah,
be.
yeah,
I
of
mean, I don't
course,
know.
absolutely.
I don't know. I guess I haven't really thought of it. Like, we've had some people from TV on and things like that, and that's all cool and
Hmm.
everything. But I guess I've never really thought, like, man, I really got to get this person on. Like, I don't know. I just haven't really thought of it. So that's a good question. Now I'm going to have to think about it. And I'll have to let you know the next time I talk to
Yeah,
you.
I was gonna
I'm like,
say we
okay,
talk to each
here's,
other.
yeah.
We talk all the time. So,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
right, excellent. So, in terms of both your paranormal work and your podcasting work, what does the future look like? What are your plans, your goals, your aspirations?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I wanna continue the show. Maybe, get some other topics in there. I would love to be able to have more time to actually dive into some topics, like
Mm,
really research and everything, but that's too hard with
yeah.
activities and all that other stuff going on. But and I'd like to get to a couple places out of state, other like a little bit farther. Like
Hmm.
I don't know. I That would be fun to be able to. I'd like to be able to go to like New Orleans.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, that's not really
Oh
bragging or
yes.
like, but that's like you'll learn more about, their rituals, voodoo, all that. Like I want to learn it all. That's something I
Yeah.
want to broaden my horizon. I want to learn more
Hmm.
about the paranormal. I want to expand into that, get more into research for that. You know, we keep a notebook, but sometimes we forget to write things down. So I want to get better at doing that when we're on investigations, so that way we can see if we have anything that kind of
Yeah.
maybe makes sense at these locations every time we go.
I always have it sitting there, but no one writes nothing.
We get too distracted by everything that's going on, and we forget. That's why I need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can tell you from experience about writing things.
Mhm.
I wasn't writing stuff either, but recently I've been journaling now for probably the past year,
Uh-huh.
and then I've meditated and kept a journal. But I recently started when I do sessions with folks.
Uh-huh.
I have a little notebook,
Mm-hmm.
and I write stuff out that I'm getting that I just can't get out
Yeah.
fast enough with my words.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's really interesting what you end up coming up with.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes you are divinely guided.
Mm-hmm.
You think you're writing when in actuality the person that you're tapping into is writing.
Mm-hmm. And
A
that's
lot of
the
times.
thing that you just brought up a lot. I've had several authors on that have actually
Mm-hmm.
talked about that. Like they feel like all the information they're getting is like a download and it's just like spewing out through them. Like, I don't know
Mm-hmm.
how I know all this stuff. It's got to be
Mm-hmm.
from a higher power,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We've had
Yeah.
several of them on there, which is very interesting and very neat.
All right. Cool. So, for both of you, if people want to listen to your podcast or find you or be on your show, whatever, or reach out to you, how do you do that? How do they do that?
You're the one that does the show thingy.
Okay, so yes, for our show, you can find us on Instagram. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's RE Paranormal 24. We have Twitter, same handle, I'm pretty sure. And then Kim does our Facebook. We have
That's Paranormal and Friends.
uh-huh.
And then we got my Facebook.
At Kim Addie Purvis, which if anybody wants to see
And
some
then
of our
we
live
still got the
investigations.
REP Paranormal Busters, our old team.
Yep, we
We
still
still
have
got
that one.
that running.
Yep,
Okay.
and you can find our podcast live on Thursday nights, 8, 7 Central, 5 Pacific, on Spreaker. It's a free app, or you don't have to get the app. You can just search it and get on and look for us. It's free. Or you can replay us on any podcast platform, like any podcast platform. Just type in REP Paranormal Friends and you'll be able to find us. So,
Awesome. Thank you so much, both of you,
yeah,
for
absolutely.
being my guest today.
Yes.
A really great topic of conversation. I learned a whole lot, more than what I was thinking. You always sometimes you have assumptions, you just don't know,
Uh-huh.
and it's really good to get the people who've experienced it, and also talk with like-minded people. I
Mhm.
love doing that.
Yeah.
To see that, hey, I'm not alone in my beliefs and my questions.
Mhm.
So, you two are welcome back anytime. I really appreciate it. And I will wish you the very best in the future. Thank you so much.
Yes, thanks for having us on.
All right.
Appreciate
Take
it.
care, everybody. All right.
All right.
Bye-bye.